So let's do scientific notation. Scientific notation is in chemistry, biology, sociology, astronomy. It's everywhere. But in particular chemistry, because we deal with very small numbers. For example, 0.00000034. Okay, a whole bunch of zeros. But can we rewrite it in a more compressed way? Sure we can. So what we do is we're going to move this decimal and put it between these two numbers, okay? So that we can write this in a shorter format. So to do that, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. 3.4, right, times 10 to something, 6. But is it negative 6 or positive 6? Well, the way I remember it is if I'm going this way, if I'm moving the decimal this way, I'm making the number bigger. If I'm moving the decimal that way, I'm making the number smaller. So if I'm making this value bigger, then I'm going to have a smaller value for the exponent. In this case, it's going to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, making this number bigger, and I'm going to make the exponent smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It might not make sense right now. What makes more sense probably if it's already like, say, 4.38 times 10 to the minus 4, right? This is minus 4. It's telling you that this place, this decimal, is going to move to the left 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3 zeros, 0.000438. And then usually you put a 0 over here just to give it a more stable look. So you can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4 places. But here, right, this is negative 4. It tells you to go negative that way. It's pretty straightforward. But if you want to rewrite this decimal into that, it's sometimes a little bit harder. So again, if you move it 1, 2, 3, 4, you're making this number bigger because you're moving the decimal to the right. If you're making this value bigger, then the exponent has to be smaller. And on our calculator, we can take these values and change them. If you turn on your calculator, this one's the TI 30X Pro. If you go to mode here and then use the pad to go to scientific notation, press enter, then quit, we're in scientific notation. So if you go 0.0000438 and enter, it gives you the scientific notation, 4.38 times 10 to the minus 4, which is the answer right here. Pretty neat, huh? Okay, let's keep going. Let's say you had something like 8.45 times 10 to the 5th power. That 5, that exponent of 5, is going to tell you to move the decimal place over 5 times. So let's do that. So here's 8.45, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the zeros go here. So this is 845,000. 845,000. Okay. If you take that value, 845,000, and enter, it gives you 8.45 times 10 to the 5. Can you go from scientific notation back to a number, you can, but you're going to have to change the mode. So if I want 8.45 times 10 to the 5 to be a number, you could change. You can go back to the mode, put it to normal, right? Quit, and press enter, and it does change it for you. Is there an easier way to do that, to change it? Maybe, but I don't know how to change it on this calculator like that. But that's one way. All these calculators are going to be different in terms of scientific notation. So there's a few things you can do. Like, for example, you can say 3.54 times 10 to the 2, right, plus 1.43 times 10 to the third. We can do that. We can add that. So that would be 3.54. EE is times, right, to the 2, plus 1.43. EE is times to the third, equals, and then we get 1.784 times 10 to the third power. Okay. If you're doing this by hand, you would have to change this 2 to a 3, or change this 3 to a 2. Okay, or we can do 5.42 times 10 to the minus 2 times 8.45 times 10 to the minus 4, let's say. Okay, well, here we go, 5.42 EE negative, so you got to press the negative button, 2, times 8.45 to the power of negative 4 equals, and here, right, we get 4.5799 times 10 to the minus 5. Okay, when you multiply, you're going to add the exponents. In this case, what's happening is negative 2 times negative 4 is negative 6, but 5 times 8 is going to give you a different place, and so this is going to have to change. But everything's done in the calculator, so you don't need to know how it works out that way. Here, 4.37 times 10 to the minus, let's say 6, divided by 1.73 times 10 to the 4th, right? So here, 4.37, right, to the E minus 6 divided by, and you can see the divide, 1.73 to the power of 4, right? Enter. And that's going to give you 2.526 times 10 to the minus 10. Okay. And let's say you were doing 5.34 times 10 to the 5th to the power of 2, right? So that's going to be parentheses, 5.34 to the power of 5, close parentheses, and then we're going to square it. We can use this button here, and then square it, enter, and we can see that it's going to be 2.85 156 times 10 to the 11th. Okay. And then one more. Let's say we're taking the square root of 16 times 10 to the 4th. Okay. Well, that's going to be easy. We take the second, the square root, 16 EE to the 4th power. Enter. You can see there's no times 10, right? It's just EE. Answer is 4 times 10 to the 2. Okay. So that's the way to enter in the calculator. One other thing that might be a little bit helpful is, let's say you got 2.34 times 10 to the 6. Let's say you wanted to change the decimal because you're doing adding, subtracting, or you're doing some type of square root and you have to do something like that, right? The way this goes is that if I'm going to make this, so if I go this way, if I move the decimal this way, I'm making the number bigger. If I'm moving the decimal that way, I'm making the number smaller. Okay, that's how I think about it. So if I move the decimal over to the right, I'm making the number bigger. Thus, I have to make this exponent smaller. 23.4 times 10 to the 5th. So if I make this number bigger, I'm going to have to make this exponent smaller. Is that right? These are equivalent, by the way. They're the same. Okay, watch. So 2.34 times 10 to the 6th is the same as 23.4 times 10 to the 5th. So let's see. 23.4 EE to the 5th power, enter. 22.34 times 10 to the 6th. See that? It's the same value. Okay. And the other way, let's say you have a 1.54 times 10 to the minus 3, right? If I make this decimal, if I move it to the left for whatever reason, right, to be 0.154, it's going to be times what? Well, if I make this number smaller, because I'm moving to the left, if I make this number smaller, then I'm going to have to make this bigger. Now in the number line, right, -3 is over here. If I'm going to make this smaller, I'm going to have to make this exponent bigger. Making the exponent bigger is not going this way. You have to go the other way, because -2 is bigger than -3. So this is times 10 to the minus 2. I know it's a little bit challenging to do that. And why do we do this? Because when you do adding or subtracting and some other taking the square root, you're going to have to change the decimals. Now here, so these are equivalent. They're equal to each other. Let's see. Point, and you can put a 0 here if you like. So, but I'm not going to do that, but you can. 154 to the power of -2 equals the same thing, 1.54 times 10 to the minus 3. Okay? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Show it to your friends. Show it to your teacher. I hope you have a great semester. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.